let's briefly talk about WWE. This is a constant topic as far as WWE's fall from grace. Consistently every year we all seem to be really down at the end of the year, specifically December. I don't know if it's just because it's the winter or if WWE is really that bad, but everyone makes it out to be that WWE is just overall failing. Thread after thread in the Facebook group, on Reddit, on Google+, it seems like pretty much every other conversation is about how terrible WWE has done in one way or another. So one comment, though, stood out to me on Reddit, and it was posted this morning in another one of these threads by Random Paul 100, and he wanted to point out that, quote, "You're complaining about a kid's show. Start watching other wrestling products like Lucha Underground." So, do you guys feel like this is accurate, that we need to just realize and accept that WWE is no longer for us?
No, it's no longer for the fans that watched in the 90s, that loved the Attitude Era. That's not what it's about. It hasn't been about that for a long time, and I don't think it's going to be about that, if not ever again, then at least not for a while. Definitely not while Cena's on top, because Cena is a huge draw with kids. As we all know, he's a huge draw with the family market. I don't know that that'll ever change. And yeah, a lot of people need to accept that maybe the WWE just isn't for them anymore. And as far as start watching other wrestling programs goes, I'm fully in support of that. When I went on my hiatus as far as watching WWE products went, I watched TNA, I tried to get into ROH, and I tried out watching Japanese wrestling, and I fell in love with it. I watched indie promotions. I tried to watch as much PWG, Chikara as I could get my hands on, and I loved it. So for the people that are complaining about how bad, how awful, how terrible Raw is week in, week out, week in and week out, first of all, stop watching, because if you hate it that much and you're still watching, that says a lot about you. But watch something else. Find something that you do enjoy. And I think we'll all be a lot happier for it.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him for hating on WWE, because the way Raw directed is, the first thing that come out, long ass talking, and that's all they would do from last year to this year now. And plus, I remember like last December when the New Day comes out, they start chanting NXT. I haven't heard anybody chant outside from WWE since TNA back in, I want to say 2006 or 7, we start chanting TNA during Raw. And now, back in the day, we thought, WWE had to go up against other competition. But right now, the old competition is NXT. It's bad when, I think last month, when John Cena had to hold like a meeting just to rally up their own roster, just to try to do their best. But, damn hell well, NXT is kicking their ass from the storyline to a push. And that's why TNA, NXT, Ring of Honor, and Lucha Underground is getting better. And now that, Global Force Wrestling, and once they get the TV deal, it's a done rep for WWE. And same thing with New Japan Pro Wrestling, with being on TV as well, it's over for WWE. And because right now, WWE is getting so, I won't say lazy, but it become shitty. I mean, even the rotation, like, John Cena is the first guy I even lost respect to. Because back in the day, when John Cena beat Rey Mysterio, I lost all my respect for that guy. And I have never seen a single wrestler get protected like that before. I don't remember even AJ Styles being protected when he has running TNA. Of course, he being the main event, but he had to step down and let the other guys get their shine on. I don't see that in WWE. When every time you see a main event, you see John Cena, no matter what, with the title or without the title. If WWE needs to be better, they had to switch it up. They need to change rotation. They need to cater to a pro wrestling fan, not rely on sport entertainment. Because everything this man said on the Stone Cold podcast is the problem right now for WWE.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of torn on the concept. My mantra for the last 2-3 years, pretty much since we've been doing this podcast and since we've been, receiving feedback from you guys, and just taking part in more conversations online. It seems that this negativity continues to rise and rise and rise and get larger and more and louder, really. But my mantra has always been, wrestling, the entire show is not for you. There's always going to be something there that you can find engaging, that you can find worth watching. But I do agree it is hard to find that sometimes, especially with WWE. So, yeah, overall, I don't know if I want to classify Raw or WWE in general as a kids show, but I think it goes with just overall expectations. It seems like with the IWC in general, as we get more negative, our expectation bar goes higher and higher, and we are putting WWE in a position, or TNA in some instance, we're putting them in a position that they'll never be able to reach that point where we'll be truly satisfied. We'll always find something negative to talk about. Roman Reigns, I think, is a perfect example of this. We want to see new guys be pushed and get that opportunity. And there was rarely ever a complaint about Roman Reigns until he turned singles and he got that opportunity. And then now it seems like everyone hates Roman Reigns. I don't know. I think it's just we're setting the expectation bar too high. WWE will never be able to meet that, and yeah, it's a shame. But definitely, I do agree that people should just turn it off. And that's something we've always said too. If you're unhappy with what you're watching, treat wrestling like any other TV show. You don't like Doctor Who anymore, you don't watch it anymore. You don't just keep watching it to complain about it. And that's how we treat WWE.
Yeah, the expectations absolutely have to change. Raw this week was not that bad, but to hear a lot of people tell it ran their dog over and then danced on its grave.
Yeah.
It was... There are three things I think people are focusing on to the exclusion of everything else. One, the Authority's back. Two, a few of their favorite, or at least wrestlers they liked, guys got fired. And then somebody said something about the Road Warriors that wasn't spoken in glowing terms.
It made Lance Storm sad.
Yeah, Mick Foley talked about them disrespecting Hawk's memory, and it's... They're saying that the teams that came before don't stack up to them.
Yeah.
It's a gimmick. Recognize it for what it is. They didn't disrespect the Road Warriors, or they didn't disrespect Hawk's memory. They didn't speak ill of the dead. And to say otherwise is just ridiculous. I think people need to either get the stick out of their ass or just recognize a gimmick for what it is. And recognize the product as a whole for what it is. Judge everything by its own merit or lack thereof. You don't need to judge what happened with Kid and Cesaro unmasking themselves by the merits of the Authority's back. Treat everything as its own individual thing, judge it on its own merits, and I can pretty much guarantee you'll start to enjoy at least aspects of the product a lot more.
It's really hard to enjoy WWE. I can bring up TNA when they bring in the Dixieland. You can enjoy that because you back in your mind there will be a big payoff. And once Bully Ray put her through the table, that storyline is dead, and they bring up a new storyline with push up new guys. WWE, when I thought Authority is over, I thought, okay, brand new is coming up. We see some good storyline. The Authority was out for at least 2 months, or a month and a half, and then bring them back. I'm thinking to myself like, wow, so all that Survivor Series shit is full of waste. But I guess to try to build up for Road to WrestleMania with Triple H and Sting, if that would be me, if I wrote for a Sting and Triple H match, I will bring back the old school Triple H, come out with a sledgehammer, jeans and a leather jacket, bust Sting in the head with a sledgehammer, and there you go. That's your match for WrestleMania. But no, you have to bring back the whole entire Authority and bring the same concept from last year. So that's why people complain about WWE, because people who grew up with WWE or WWF, they seen the change. From New Generation era, or even back then, to the Attitude era, to Ruthless Aggression era, to today era. Me, I grew up watching '96 back in New Generation era. When I see Goldust, Arman Johnson, Shawn Michael, 1-2-3 Kid, and I lived through the Attitude era, and my hero was Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I enjoyed every single moment from the Attitude era through the Ruthless Aggression, who was a big fan of John Cena at the time, who got the spinning WWE Championship belt, which was cool back then, but now it looks stupid now.
Yeah.
But and then Batista and Evolution, Shelton Benjamin, all them guys. And then after Ruthless Aggression was over and changed to a PG, and it started like, okay, where's the blood? What happened to the Hell in the Cell that I used to like? What happened to all the hardcore matches? Start stripping away that we used to like and enjoy back in the Ruthless Aggression era. And now we look at today, now you understand why people become pissed off that the Ascension, who I expect the tag team in NXT, what they've done, when they come to WWE, they become like a watered down version of themselves. I want to say they're throwing shots at the LOD. No, the tag team, they're running up. That means the rest of the fans have been talked about it either jokingly or they try compare us to them. So the only big problem for WWE is they got to give the fans what they want. If not, the fans gonna turn away and look at ROH as a top dog, TNA as a top dog, NXT, GFW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Dragon Gate, any other wrestling promotion that will feed their wrestling fans what they want.
But see, we have gotten what we wanted. We got Daniel Bryan as champion. We've got Seth Rollins getting a title shot against John Cena and Brock Lesnar. We're getting guys coming from NXT. We've got the New Day. But every time they start making these concessions to us, it seems like I say we, I mean people on the internet. It seems like the target's always shifting. They keep moving the goalpost. And even for the things that we do get, people on the internet have absolutely been shitting all over the New Day, and I don't understand it. It's mind-boggling. As far as the authority goes, as far as the authority goes, I get what you're saying. I rolled my eyes when I saw them come back, but my theory about that is they came back about the same time that Daniel Bryan came back. So I think the WWE wants to pick up where they left off with that. It's not inspired storytelling. It's fairly lazy, but we could see Daniel Bryan finally put the nail in the coffin of the authority. So I don't know. We waited 8 months to see Daniel Bryan get the title.
Right.
Maybe we could wait a little longer for them to actually finish that storyline the way they wanted.
But that's the thing. That's where I have an issue with this. It's like, and I think this is what you're saying, Robert, and I think this is what's being talked about in the live chat as well. It's like, WWE puts themselves in a position to be very successful and do the right thing as far as from our perspective, but it's hard to have faith that they'll do it, that they'll move forward with that. A new day, you're saying that you don't understand why people are upset with that. But I think part of it is, there was a major expectation that we placed upon them thinking they were going to be the new nation of domination, and that didn't happen. Then after they were on TV for 2-3 weeks, they were taken off for a month and a half. And then now they're back again. So it feels like we're getting sloppy seconds of a failed story. So I can see where there's discrepancies with this, where people can have issues with what WWE is doing. It's just that it's not, like we said in the rankings, it's not consistent from week to week, to show. And it's hard to have faith in WWE to continue that storyline. Bella's are a perfect example. We weren't looking forward to Nikki versus Brie for the title, even though that seemed to be where they were going, and then they just dropped it.